freedom will allow probably still some extreme builds, and we were a bit afraid of the extreme builds. And part of the ways of trying to compensate for that is, I don't know if you've seen it, but the scenarios, the missions, is very different from what it used to be. As in the past we had like 6 balanced scenarios and 6 like an attack and defense scenario. What you have in the new rulebook is a matrix system where you select what type of victory conditions you're playing for and what type of deployment you're going to go for and how the reserves work. So you have effectively these factors and you roll them. Maybe we're going to make cards for them, I think. I don't know, but you can make cards. But is a roll on 3 charts that create a scenario. So every time you play, there would be a different type of conditions, which again encourages to have a flexible army. It has a bit of everything. You need your infantry. You cannot just go just vehicles because then you can't grab objectives. You cannot have all artillery because then if you get a mission where everything starts off the table, you're rolling, manhandling your big artillery pieces on the table for a turn, and while the other guys are shooting it. So hopefully there is enough variety there that will keep things, keep you guessing a bit more before you go play. There's one condition, which is the fog of war, which I see probably also people that prefer more kind of a standard feeling to their game would probably discard that altogether, maybe tournament organizers, because it's effectively your units turn up from anywhere around the table, kind of not at random, but you can come in from anywhere you like it, which creates a completely different gaming experience. I mean, it's so different. I find it fun, perhaps not as realistic. It's literally fog, as in units getting lost and turning up on following the sound of the firefighter going that direction and turning up and going, oh, friends, enemies, that kind of confused situation, which could be forest in your den, lots of cloud, low cloud, and fog, literally there.
We had a playtest game because we tried different points levels, because we understand that everyone's probably going to play 1,000 or 1,250, but people play other stuff. The most interesting events I've been to are the ones where it's 750 points, because it makes you choose your list a lot more difficult choices. So we did 500, 750. We even went up to a 5,000 point game on a massive table, just because I played them a lot. I really enjoy them, like a daytime weekend game. And that Fog of War was amazing for that, because when you've got a 16-foot board, it doesn't matter that they're coming on from wherever, because it actually works. So it's important to remember as well that your games aren't just 1,000 points every time. You can play them at different levels, and all these different things, all these different factors can take place on your different games.
So when you play with the Fairy Trains or John or Rick, they have these 12x8 wargame tables, and particularly the Paris, because they're not so much into the rules, they like history and the models. And they start to play Voltaxia, and oh yeah, we made this small game, and there's like 50 dice per side, and you start to go onto the table and you go, I'm out of range. But yeah, well, this is rubbish. I should be engaged at this distance. I mean, look at the table. It's like, yeah, see, the game is designed to work in this little corner. Not many people have 12x8 tables. You understand? Which is always fun. We always end up like doubling the ranges and the movement and stuff because just.
With respect to you as game designers and playtesters, did you have much input into what went into the first army boxes? Because it's Americans and Germans, or would you have liked to have seen other infantry like Russians put in there instead?
Not the kind of decision we made.
No, I wrote the scenarios for that booklet. If anyone's got a problem with it, but no, I didn't really. Didn't really have anything to do with it.
No, it's a commercial choice.
Yeah.
It's a commercial choice. But it's somehow linked with the first army books to come out, I would say. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
As we will see later.
Hi, both Beth and Alessio. I was wondering, two things. What change are you most proud of each? And what was it? Were there any sort of particular big battles, something you really were willing to die on a hill for, to keep in or change?
Both of mine relate to the same thing. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, please.
Platoon structure.
Platoon structure.
I love it. I don't know if anyone else does this. I know Marcus Vine, who does the content for Warlord. We do this a lot, and we send each other army lists back and forth on Facebook. Like, oh, I've come with this idea. I list build. I think it's part of the hobby for me, actually. It's really weird. I'll sit there and come up with an idea and go, oh, I've got a spreadsheet full of army lists of different ideas and different ways of doing things. I love making army lists and coming up with ideas for armies. Having that open platoon structure was just like, mind blown. I could do all this. Oh my God, I can do this. And I'm looking forward to playing some games because I want to see what other people are doing. So my idea is like, I get to bring my 5 French motorcycles with their light mortars and light machine guns. What are people doing? People are going to bring cavalry. People are going to do Katyushas and what armour are people bringing? We're going to see big heavy tanks. The freedom of that platoon structure has got me genuinely excited to play the game. Because unfortunately I haven't been able to play bolt action for the last 4 years because I couldn't play 2nd edition while I was doing this. Because I honestly didn't want to make the mistake of like, oh yeah, make cover safe. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. So I've not been playing. I was saying to these guys who invited me down to their tournament, it was like, oh, do you want to come play some games? Yes, I want to play some V3 finally. And my Die on a Hill 4, and I think I sent Alessio and Paul and people, I think email chains went on a lot, and I kept bugging, I kept poking, was engineering platoons.
Uh-huh.
So I'm from a military background, I'm not going to tell you what, but I've had a long career in the military, and the TOE and platoon structure was really important for me to get it right, to get it generic enough that it'll suit every army. And generally speaking, pioneers and engineers are in their own separate engineering company, engineering platoon. They come from divisional level, etc. So that was for me really important to get. No, you need a dedicated engineering platoon because that's how they operated. They weren't generally put into rifle companies and that sort of stuff. So that was my on a hill to die for. If anyone's got an issue with all the flamethrowers, well, complain to Warlord.
It's funny that actually then the British and the Japanese in this book don't have engineers. We forgot to put them in. Literally, we took the army books and put the units in there. These has to cover everything that was in the army book, etc. And then when later they told me, the book about the engineer, the British and the Japanese cannot make an engineer platoons. I was like, surely, but there's engineers in it. No, there aren't. I go, really? So, and we went to the book because we thought they were in the book in the armies of Great Britain, and we forgot to put it here. And we look at the book. They're not in the book. They're not in the armies of Great Britain. Hence why they're not here. It was like, oh. So that was the first errata. So you cannot grade your infantry squad to engineers for plus 1 point. You get the engineer rule. Therefore, you can have the engineer platoon.
We're going to get an FAQ.
Yeah, it's already. It's in the errata. It's like, yep. Oh yeah. You can make them engineers. Yeah, so you can. It's good, but it was surreal going back to the book, thinking we must have dropped. How did it happen? And it was like, nope, never had been. Which is surreal if you think about it. It's like, well, the armies of Great Britain doesn't have the Royal Engineer Corps. And then it's like, okay, weird.
So, as well, because I've been responsible for all of the armies of books, so I've been working on all of them, still am. Because we have to go back. When initially I wrote armies, or edited, wrote, rewrote, reconstructed armies of Germany, it was a few years ago now. And I'd done the core list, figured everything out, and we're having to go back constantly because, like, cool, right, we've changed this in the rules. Oh no, we definitely need to change this. And then I'm about to go back and go, oh, hang on, I need to change that in armies of Germany, otherwise that's going to be spicy. So there's a constant evolution as well of making sure everything's fine, making sure the work we've done years in the past is now actually solid and works.
Yeah. Working on all those books at the same time is challenging.
Yeah, to say the least.
Are there any releases you're allowed to tell us?
We have a presentation for that, but I think I need to finish answering that question.
Yes, please. Yeah, the dying on the hill bit I think would be great.
I think it's the same bit for me. It's the cover saves. Is the changing the shooting sections. That's possibly in terms of pure design of the core system is the biggest change. And it was nerve-wracking, it was worrying because I was getting a lot of pressure from playtesters, particularly competitive playtesters, that wasn't required. It was like, why are you doing this? And the reply was, well, because of what I explained before about wanting the game to flow better, faster, more accessible, more enjoyable from where I am now, and for more accessible to new people, to casual gamers. But getting all that resistance was the thing that many times I was like, am I doing the right thing? is this something that is gonna hurt the game, hurt Warlord Games? And am I being stubborn here? Should I not do it? And you have those moments of doubt. And what do I do? I play games with the likes. If I go and play with Rick, I go and play with James Johnson, and I just go, guys, what do you think? The people that I really trust and respect, and I've worked with for years, and they taught me a lot. And hearing them saying, no, you are right, this is a better game. It really is, because of X, Y, and Z, and it's not just a matter of taste, and that is very comforting, and that helped me hold onto that position. No, I think it's a better game. But yeah, there's a part of you that thinks, ooh, careful here.
I'm glad you've tamed it down a bit, because I play Soviets, and if you ever watch Ministry of Miniatures, I get caned because particularly early war, and I've got all these minuses and everything, and just knowing that some of that shaved off, and I've got maybe a chance of not losing so badly next time.
No, you still get trounced.
So for me, the cover saves. This is my sales pitch for cover saves, because I was dubious at first when we started playing. I was one of those stubborn tournament players initially when I came into it. And my sales pitch now for cover saves, because they are genuinely good, they generally make it better and flow better, is you're engaging with your opponent. You're not just rolling dice and then they're going, oh, all my stuff's dead. You're engaging and go, right, cover saves. And also, if you're rolling your cover saves, you can't blame your opponent's good dice rolls. You blame yourself for getting it, because you're actually taking a part in the shooting phase. Then you're trying to save your dudes. You're making the rolls. You're actively participating in a reaction that's happening to your stuff, which is really great. And that engagement has been really good. And you play opponents, and you actually feel like you're engaging with someone rather than just roll the dice, take all your miniatures off. Oh, great.
Yeah, and it does create memorable moments. Because you play testing again, you're gonna go, oh, I'm shooting at these guys, they're down in a building, a Terminator armor, 2+ saves, whoa. And he goes, 6 dice, 5 ones. And you remember that. Oh, you remember when you rolled those 5 ones and all your super duper guys died to a max. So it creates the situation, which, let's be honest, some people won't like that. Because it's more random, there's more chaos. There is a chance of luck influencing things more. So I understand that it's like every change you make, not everybody will like it. And for good reasons. If you prefer more control, that's what you prefer, and that gives you a bit less control. So I can see how you may not like it. But we found it fun and engaging, yes. So, and fast.
Fast, yeah.
And fast.
First of all, thanks so much. Loving version 3 so far. It's great.
You're really,
absolutely right. As soon as you put, I'm a plant too. As soon as you put those armies out before you even rolled the dice, you're like, okay, I get it. But were there any rules that you loved but didn't make the cut? You're like, we can't let this out into the wild. This is madness, even though I really enjoy it.
The invincible Italian rule. They never let me put it in. This thing where if you lose, you actually didn't lose because you were on their side. Never allowed to put that one in.
That just goes without saying. It goes without saying.
I don't think there's anything that didn't really. No, I am as well, which is probably a good sign, to be honest. The stuff we wanted to do is in there.
Stuff we tried and then decided the games should have was stuff we tried.
I think the platoon structure is the biggest thing, to be honest with you. I didn't really want it in there. There was too much freedom. You can't have that much freedom. No, you'll abuse it. Bad. No. I'm racking my brains now. It's been a couple of years.
Another big change was definitely the cross combat one, but that one made it a thing. Yeah. Because again, that's a subtle change, a few words, and suddenly cross combat is less important in the game. Because again, there was very much playing a completely different game, because of War for Other Company, etc. Where we're like, oh, we need to address the balance between shooting and cross combat because of this other thing, and the setting and where it's set, and you kind of go. What to Boltaccia? I was thinking of these horde armies, huge, hordes of people, with bamboo spears, and I kind of go, yeah, they're a bit too good. I felt, yeah. So I was like, let's make it a bit more, just a bit more about shooting, a bit less about stabbing people with bayonets, because of the period, because of the issue, of that simulation of reality we're talking about. So yeah, but that did make it.
Yeah.
Is there any other changes that?
Free units, that's a big one. So as a French player, I'm going to miss my free units. It's a really important balancing point, especially. I know that during testing as well, Marcus, who is peering over the shoulders of the people in the background there, definitely an advocate for binning off free units. So we can definitely say that free units are a thing of the past because they basically unbalance the game. You're getting free stuff, you're playing with more points than your opponent. It was too strong, it just didn't feel right as well. Again, as a French player, I'm going to miss my 2 free dice, but you know, I'll get over it.
It's not just free units; it's really free anything. I had like a 3 hours conversation with Marcus during the week, where it was about the the fact that officers have
Free equipment.
give them whatever weapons they want, etc. And there was so much back and forth about should we not should we make them pay for the extra ones? So yeah, it was an interesting one. Eventually, we'll get there in the army.
Yeah, but generally speaking, I think everything we wanted in there is in there, and it sort of worked, or it evolved and was workable.
We did try
Amazing.
lots of stuff, and some of it didn't make it. Frankly, I can't remember.
No,
There's
yeah,
been
no,
so
no.
much of that.